Hey, party people, Techno back again with another lock. And if you have been interested in lockpicking for any amount of time, pursuing lockpicking for any amount of time, or practicing it, you are probably familiar with the American Lock 1100 series of locks. And these are fantastic practice locks to pick up and develop your skills with picking various security pins. They're fairly low in price, probably due to their lightweight physical construction, relatively thin, actually very thin, hardened steel shackle here, an aluminum body. But the great thing is we have a removable core that is just chock full of security pins. You can see the warding there is nothing like too crazy, which in this case is as a practice lock is kind of nice because it lets you focus on the feedback that you're feeling rather than getting hung up on that warding. It's also a 5-pin lock, so this one has pretty decent bidding. In fact, I think all of the 1100s that I've purchased so far have had pretty good bidding. Works just fine. Good bit of spring tension on getting that core turned. Although whenever you do manage to unlock these, there's not a lot of tension in terms of getting to the core where everything is set. The core turns pretty readily. It's just extra tension and rotating it around to release the shackle. Dual ball bearing locking mechanism here, and also there's that screw that would allow us to access or release this retaining plate and pull out that core, which is exactly what we're going to do when we open this up to take a look at what's inside. So without further ado, let's see what it takes to pick this open. And to do that, I'm going to use my top of the keyway tensioner in 50 thousandths. Fits very snugly into that keyway, pretty much a perfect match. And to nobody's surprise, I'm sure I'm going to be using my Sparrow's Tron pick for this. So let's go ahead and get started. Nothing on pin 1, nothing on pin 2, nothing on 3. 4 is binding. Subtle click out of 4, what I would otherwise describe as like a shallow click. So I'm pretty sure this is a spool pin, and I'm pretty sure that that was just, or I'm sorry, not a spool pin, a serrated pin, and I'm pretty sure that was just one of the serrations on there, not the actual shear line. So those tends to have a more authoritative feel when it clicks into place and kind of more of a solid lockup. So I'm going to try to push this up another position. And there, if you heard that click, a much more definitive click out of that and a more solid feeling of kind of setting into place. That's pretty well, I'd say, set into place. Small click out of 5. So now we're going to go back up the stack. And again, on 5, it feels pretty solid in there now. So I don't think that that was a serration. That felt more like a shear line. So let's go back to pin 3. And pin 3 is now binding. So we have a click out of 3. Let's try 2. Small click out of 2. Kind of hard to feel. They're a little bit subtle there. Just tapped 1 and felt some movement on the core. So not a lot of movement needed on 1. I can't tell if that's fully in place or not, but let's test 2. 2 feels good. 3 feels good. 4 and 5 feel good. So let's get another click on 1 if we can. Nice click out of 1 there. 2 is binding very, very hard now. So nice click out of 2. Felt some movement on the core. And another click out of 2, release that core. And you could kind of see how it just kind of flopped into the open position. No resistance at that point. Now all the resistance is just the remainder of turning that core and popping that shackle. Great, so we got this one open. Let's see what was inside that we were dealing with. So I'll set this to the side here, grab our Phillips head, grab some gutting stuff, and let's go ahead and drop this core out. So again, down the shackle hole, removing this Phillips head screw. So there's that screw. There is that nut. There's the core, retaining plate, and here we have this core. So this core is held in with a, I'm just going to go ahead and lock this up, and we'll use the key from that point forward. A little bit of, feels like grease on the core, like lithium grease or something like that. We're going to pop this C-clip off of here. That almost flew across the room. There's that. So now we can get this core open. There's a bit of a gap here where that C-clip is. So I'm going to try and work a shim into place there to bridge that gap when we pull these pins out. Also going to take advantage of the shim to kind of bridge the gap between the tailpiece and the follower, because I do not have the specific follower necessary that makes the gutting of these nice and easy. So here's what I do have. Let's see if this turns out to be a disaster or not. So far, so good. Okay, and there we can see those key pins start to pop out. Let's just go ahead and remove the key now, and we will drop these out, starting with, you can see here, there's actually room for 6 pins in this core. Only 5 are populated. So with a 6-pin key, you could get a 6th pin in there. That grease is making these a little bit sticky, so let me go ahead and grab my pick and we will remove them one at a time. So chamber 1, we have a serrated key pin. Chamber 2, another serrated key pin. Three is not serrated, but probably due to how small it is. So pretty high cut there on that, and no room for serrations. Chamber 4, another serrated key pin, which leaves 5. Which, no surprise, is also a serrated key pin. All right, let's take a look at those drivers. In 1, we have serrated pin. 2, another serrated. 3 is a serrated. 4 is serrated. In 5, we have a spool in 5, actually a serrated spool. So nice. Pretty good assortment of security pins there. The spool didn't feel as though the spool really came into play, so that's probably not the optimal positioning for the spool pin. But you could always move that to a different chamber for a little bit different of a challenge. So here in its entirety is your contents of that core. And in conclusion, yeah, again, great locks to pick up for practice and just for building those skills. Until next time, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. I will talk to you later. Take care. Catch you later.